listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bree.
And I'm Rachel.
And now it is time for Erin's recipe card. And this is the first time that we have done Erin's recipe card on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. So we might get some real reactions to this. So I can't actually eat any of the food that anybody is ever going to make on this episode or on this segment of this podcast because I have a lot of...
You never know.
You never know. I shouldn't say ever, never, ever. I have lots of food intolerances. It's a very long story. However, I get to smell everything. And let me tell you, whatever this is in front of me that I will soon let you explain, it smells really good, people. So you need to go find the recipe on the show notes and make this for yourself. So, Erin, take it away.
I chose to make tuna ring ding.
Now, before we go, I want to hear all about this, but your recipe card, this isn't like any old recipe. These are bona fide, vintage Lutheran lady cookbook recipes, right?
Indeed.
Hashtag authentic.
Yes. Hashtag authentic.
So I actually, yesterday, frantically texted my mom and said, Mom, I need the most classic recipe from the Church of All Nations cookbook or the most classic potluck recipe from my childhood, and I have to make it tonight. What do you got?
Those are some
my mom came
parameters.
through. Yeah, she
Mom.
immediately, she was like, tuna ring ding, that's the perfect thing for you. And she was right. I remember it with great fondness from my childhood. Tuna ring ding. Technically, the recipe says it's called hot tuna salad, quotation marks, ring ding. Close quotes. This is a recipe that is from the Church of All Nations cookbook that was produced sometime, I want to say, in the 70s.
Nice.
From Church of All Nations in Hong Kong. No. My grandparents were missionaries in Hong Kong, and they brought their 5 daughters and had a 6th while they were there. And my mom graduated from high school in Hong Kong. And each of their daughters got, I believe, as one of their sort of setting up house presents, once they were actually heading out into the world, one of these Church of All Nations cookbooks. The cookbook is actually full of recipes from my grandmother, and this one in particular is from Audrey Lidke. She also produced the artwork that goes in with in much of the cookbook. There's little hand-drawn pictures, and so this one actually has a picture to help you know how to assemble this tuna ring ding.
And it says "ring it!" exclamation point.
Yes, as she does. We'll post this on the site so that you can see it. But she has, and this is classically Grammy. I can totally see her drawing this picture, and this is definitely her handwriting with "ring it."
We'll also post a picture of the beautiful concoction that Erin came up with based on Grammy's recipe.
Yes. I tried to follow it pretty closely because I felt in the spirit of this, you should make the recipe as it was originally written. Mm-hmm. In the future, perhaps I might end up trying to, make 2 versions, a classic version, and then perhaps here's how I might update it version, depending on
Don't you dare.
the situation. We'll see. This recipe is basically, classic tuna salad. So it's got tuna fish in it and also pineapple.
Oh,
perhaps because, I don't know, maybe because they were living in Hong Kong and pineapple was available. I don't know. My family loves pineapple. So there's pineapple in there, mayonnaise, celery, almonds. Now, I forgot to mix the almonds in until I had assembled it. And then I realized, so I sort of pressed some, but the ratio is not going to be right with almonds to I didn't use the full amount of almonds that I was supposed to.
It makes it look pretty, though.
It does make it look pretty.
Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Green pepper, salt, pepper, and then a can of crescent rolls, the type that you like peel and then you whack them on the counter
And then it
so that they
pops.
burst open.
It's the best part.
Yeah. So to make this, you basically just make tuna salad. You could certainly substitute your own if you have a preferred tuna salad recipe. But you basically make tuna salad. You lay out and this is where Grammy's illustration really comes in handy. So you unroll the crescent roll dough and roll it and separate it out into triangles. And then you lay the triangles around in a circle so that the fat end of the triangle is on the inside and the skinny long end is on the outside of the circle.
So it looks like the sun.
Yes, so it looks like the sun. They should be overlapping. Then you put tuna salad, place that around the center part of that circle, leaving a hole in the middle. And then you wrap it up, so you ring it. You take those long ends of the triangles and loop those around to the center and tuck it under so that you end up with a tuna salad wreath. It is in some ways a holiday dish.
It's
perhaps.
festive.
It's festive.
and
It
you
is
could,
very festive.
Totally dress it up.
And then you bake it.
Huh.
And voila, it is supposed to be served hot. But then it says serve hot as a main dish or snack. So ours is not as warm anymore. I brought it into the cafeteria to have them warm it up for us, but I have a feeling, it's a slightly warm.
It's lukewarm.
So
It is a dish that has spanned cultures, though, because when I brought it in to the cafeteria, Jay looked at it and he was like, "Oh, that's a tuna pinwheel." I was like, "No, it's tuna ring ding." But
Tomato.
yeah,
Wow.
exactly. So
That's cool, because I've
Yes.
never heard of it.
yeah. So tuna ring ding.
All right, are we digging in?
Can we try this? I've never had
try
tuna
it.
with pineapple and almonds before.
Yeah, the pineapple is a little mind-blowing. I don't think I've ever put anything like pineapple with tuna. There's a lot of chewing happening right now. I get to
I think
narrate
the pineapple
this.
adds some tartness similar to the sweet pickles if you're a northern Midwesterner.
That's true.
Just a little tart.
Yes.
And it works.
Oh man, sweet pickles and tuna. It's the best thing ever. All right.
Got a lot of almonds in that bite. That gives some crunch to it. Is
Yeah.
there celery?
Yeah.
There is celery.
Celery and green pepper both.
I can smell the green pepper.
This was, I suspect, as with many of the dishes that my mom prepared in my childhood, she appreciated it. One, because it's relatively cheap. A can of tuna is not expensive.
True.
And crescent roll dough is not exactly high price either. But it features meat, vegetables, and fruit all in one.
And mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise is its own.
Right there.
Exactly.
Well, I got a bite with a lot of the buttery croissant right there. That's so good. Like I
makes everything
really
better.
want to know how Pillsbury does that magical thing where they
Yeah.
turn goo into rolls, but
Goo.
really adds a lot.
It's very appetizing. All right, what's the verdict here?
I'm very picky about my tuna salad.
Oh.
So I could totally see myself doing this with my own recipe. But nevertheless, this was much better than I was anticipating.
Well, yeah, an initial response to seeing it to now. What is the change?
I unfairly judged this dish when I walked in here.
Okay,
You
I
unfairly judged it yesterday when I said that I was
Can
going to
I
make
ex-
tuna
can I
ring
explain
ding,
to you
and you
why?
said, why?
Here's the context for you, okay? I was born on the East Coast, and I don't think they have the snack cake line here in the Midwest, but they do on the East Coast. It's called Drake's. And one of their snack cakes is called the Ring Ding, and I think it's the equivalent of maybe it's the Hostess Ding Dong. I don't remember. But anyway, when I think of ring ding, when I think of ring ding, I don't think of festive tuna wreath. I think of like chocolate snack cake with cream filling in it.
and so substitute tuna, and that would be not
Correct.
so good.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
a disappointment.
When I walked
Okay.
in, I totally thought it was a dessert. So it'd be really important to make sure whichever lady was in charge of laying out the potluck, that you make very clear this is the main dish.
True. That's true. It should
otherwise
not land on the dessert table.
Some kid is going to be very badly disappointed.
Yeah.
So I guess I wasn't poo-pooing tuna ring ding as a concept. I was poo-pooing tuna ring ding as in it was a
chocolate
Drake
cupcake
ring
filled
ding
with tuna.
salad in it. So I was actually poo-pooing my own imagination.
Okay.
Chocolate tuna is not really a great.
Not really a good
Not
combo
really a
in my
good
head, at
combo.
least.
Right.
Prove me wrong.
Right.
What did you think of it, Erin?
You've
had this before? How long has it
I
been
grew
sin-
up with this.
How long has it been since you've had
It has
it?
been quite a few years, though. I would say it's been at least a decade since I've had this.
Have you made it
looks
before?
festive. I have not made it before. But it looks very impressive. It was really quite easy to make. Assembling tuna salad is not hard at all. And then I threw it together this morning and baked it while I was getting ready.
Oh, wow.
So it's not a difficult thing, and it looks impressive. So
true.
it works. I feel it would work well for a potluck or for having people over.
Does it taste like you remember?
It does. I do notice that at some point my mom indicated that I should use crushed pineapple, which I followed her instructions, but she had crossed out tidbits. And as I think about it, I'm pretty sure that what I'm remembering is the tidbit version.
Okay.
And I kind of think I prefer the tidbits.
I think I would love that.
If I made this again, I think I would actually go with the tidbits and not the big chunks, but the the skinny, the tidbits,
the quarter-sized chunks.
Yeah, exactly. instead of the crushed pineapple.
That would give you some more bursts of flavors.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would.
Is there any other upgrades you would make, or is this a pretty solid
I feel like
recipe?
it's pretty solid. You could also, it does suggest either tuna or chicken.
Oh.
And so you could do a variation on it pretty easily by using chicken instead of tuna.
Oh,
you
man,
could also
that would
change
be
up,
really
instead
good.
of going the pineapple route, you could almost go the Waldorf salad route.
Chicken and cranberry would be amazing.
Chicken
That would be
and
so
cranberry.
good.
You could chunk some apples into it.
You could make it turkey
There's
and
lots of
cranberry and make
turkey
it
and
like
cranberry
a
at Thanksgiving. Use up some leftovers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this has got a lot of, I feel like it has a lot of room for variations with the seasons. And again, super easy to actually pull off.
An added bonus, if you see this on a table at a church and you have children, you will probably end up with 3 or 4 pieces because they'll all want to get it because it looks so pretty. But then they may or may not go for
that's
pineapple and
possible.
celery in the
That's
same
not
dish.
what I was expecting.
And then I would, under these circumstances, inherit a few extra pieces and be able to eat them without shame.
Yeah.
It's true. It is true. I do love recipes that have a lot of variation ability. That does make a nice addition to any recipe book, because then you can kind of tweak it depending on the season of the year or who's coming over, who likes what.
Yeah.
That is a nice thing about a recipe.
Have you ever thought about taking like a church cookbook and modifying the recipes for people that can only eat certain things?
I have thought about it. Maybe I'll do it.
You wrote one?
No, I haven't yet. But
You
maybe
should.
I should.
Yeah.
That would be fun. And allergen free, although everything's an allergen to a lot, depending on who you talk to.
It's free of these allergens.
Yes. Well, maybe that will happen someday. Any parting thoughts on this tuna ring ding from anybody? Floor is open.
Good job, Erin. I thought it was really delicious.
Well done.
I think
you.
maybe not all vintage recipes are quite as tasty as this, but I would love to be proved wrong.
We should do some really crazy ones.
I can't wait to see what
I
you
have
come
seen
up
some
with next
crazy
time.
ones.
We'll see.
There will be a next time. And it may not be this good, but it will still be hilarious. So that's all the time we have for Erin's recipe card on this episode of the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. But next time, Bree is going to tell us how to Lutheran, which I think is going to be pretty great. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Bree.
And you're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. Views and opinions expressed on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO Radio, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. The Lutheran Ladies Lounge is produced by KFUO Radio and available at kfuo.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Join our community on Facebook in the Lutheran Ladies Lounge.